Hello, I am Aishwarya. Our topic for seminar is Environmental Impact Assessment. It is prepared and presented by me with my friends Harshal, Pramod and Hassan. It contains introduction, historical background of EIA cycle, procedure, methods like checklist method, matrix method, network method, benefits and limitations of EIA, and conclusion of EIA.
Introduction to EIA. Environmental impact assessment is the procedure for protecting the ill effects of any project on environment. The EIA is a relationship between the environment and economic growth. EIA is an activity layout to determine and predict the impact of a project on bio-geo, physical, chemical, environment, and on human health so as to recommend appropriate legislative measures, programs, and operational procedure to minimize the impact. It informs the decision-making process by which public bodies referred to as competent authorities determine whether the certain project should go ahead or not. Historical background. The environmental impact assessment was started in India with the impact assessment of River Valley project in 1978-79, and scope has subsequently enhanced to cover other developmental sectors such as industries, thermal power projects, mining schemes, etc. To facilitate collection of environmental data and preparation of management plans, guidelines have been evolved and circulated by Ministry of Environment and Forest to the concerned central and state government departments. EIA has now been made mandatory under the Environmental Protection Act 1989 for 29 categories of developmental activities involving investment of rupees 50 crores and above. Now we will see the EIA cycle, of which first is the identification of the process in which the EIA is to study the problems of projects or the human activities. The next one is the estimation of hazards and opportunities in which the positive and negative impact of the project on the environment are analyzed. Next is the evaluation where the project is usable, practical and beneficial to be carried out or not is checked, and if the hazard from the project is more to the humans and environment, then the project should be rejected. The next is the remedial measures. If the disadvantages of the project are known and if the implementation of the project is important for developmental purpose, then the remedial measures are taken to reduce the negative impact of the project. The next step is the selection of the project. After careful estimation of hazards and the opportunities, cost benefit analysis, and proper evaluation, selection of the project is done. The next important step is the implementation. The project is implemented within the time frame schedule, ensuring that necessary provisions has been made in project which causes the potential threat to the environment. The next step is control, which should be kept from planning stage to follow-up stage. The preventive measures should be taken immediately after noticing any irregularities in the process. And the last and important step is the feedback. The commissioning of the projects planned in the future for development will depend on the feedback of the ongoing projects. This is the EI procedure. First of all, we will assess that for a certain project EI is required or not, and if it is required, then scoping, impact analysis, and its mitigation and impact management is done, on the basis of which the EI report is prepared and it is reviewed for decision making. If it is approved, then the implementation and follow-up is done, and if it is not approved, then it is redesigned and resubmitted for further EIA approval.
Here we will see the purposes of EI to systematically examine both beneficial and adverse consequences of the proposal to ensure that those consequences are taken into account during project design, to identify possible environmental effects of the proposal and steps to mitigate them, to predict whether there will be significant adverse effects even after the mitigation, to lessen the conflicts by promoting community participation and informing decision makers. Now we'll see about the methods of EI. The methods include ad hoc method, checklist method, matrix method, network method, overlays method, and battle method. Now we'll see the
Now we will
methods in details.
The first method is checklist method. Environmental factors are listed in the structured format by giving importance weightings for factor and application of scaling techniques for impacts of each alternatives. Checklists are strong indicators of impact identification. They effectively gather the attention and awareness of their audience. 4 general types of checklists are simple checklist, descriptive checklist, scaling weighting checklist. The second method is matrix method, in which it is used to identify interactions between various project actions and environmental parameters and components. They incorporate a list of project activities with a checklist of environmental components that might be affected by these activities. A matrix of potential interaction is produced by combining these two lists, placing one on the vertical axis and the another on the horizontal axis. One of the earliest matrix methods was developed by Leopold in the year 1971. The Leopold matrix consists of a list of 100 projects activities on the horizontal axis and about 88 environmental or social aspects on the vertical axis. The environmental aspects listed on the vertical axis are those that are likely to be affected by various project activities. The cells of matrix are divided by a diagonal line. You can see the table of Leopold matrix here. The third one is network matrix. It was first given by Sorensen in the year 1971, primarily to explain linkages between different environmental aspects. It is used to illustrate and understand primary, secondary, and tertiary impacts of the developmental activity. The impacts are shown in the form of tree called impact tree. This diagram is also called as reference or sequence diagram. The impact tree is used to identify cause-effect linkages. The figure is showing the vehicle movement.
Here are some benefits of EIA. First, reduced cost and time of project implementation. Cost-saving modification in project design. Increased project acceptance. Avoided impacts and violations of laws and regulations. Improved project performance. Avoided treatment and cleanup cost. Here are some limitations of EIA. EIA process provides advice to the decision makers. It does not provide final decision. The predicted adverse effects on the environment might lead to strict conditions being imposed to avoid these effects or remedy for any adverse effect, or perhaps lead to the complete abandonment of a proposal. EIA requires the scientific and various issues to be dealt with in a single assessment process, which is bulky. The implementation of the environmental policy focused on the EIA, and this led to the overburdening process. Public consultation and public participations are also limited.
Here comes the conclusion, in which it includes each form of the impact assessment methodology has advantages and disadvantages. Some considerations of the selection of the impact assessment method are: the first is the scale of the project, in which small scale projects go for ad hoc method or checklist method. Medium scale projects can use either matrices, network, or battle method, and large scale projects are better for using matrices. And the second is the extent of the detail required. The checklist tends to be more descriptive, and the network are quite simple in appearance, and the matrices have the ability to be both descriptive or simple. And the budget has an indirect influence on the method of the analysis used. However, there is no hard and fast rule saying that only one method of impact analysis need to be used. For some projects, we may require assessment using 2 or 3 different methods.